Welcome to another episode of the Nothing in Moderation podcast, coming to you live from the multi-million-dollar Nothing in Moderation studios. Do you want to just sit here in silence and let people listen to us breathe?
It'll be like, I don't know if you ever watched the show Wonder Chosen.
No.
So it was called Kid Show at one point in Wonder Chosen. It was the most out of control, clearly drug inspired thing. Mm-hmm. And they used to do skits where they'd have kids, probably 7 or 8 years old, ask questions to people. Like they'd stand outside of the bathroom, a public bathroom, when someone walked out, they'd go, "Sir, why didn't you wash your hands?" You know, and they just did all kinds of stuff. Well, there was an episode where they split the screen into 4 squares, mm-hmm. and they ran the episode forward in one of the squares. They ran it forward mirrored in one of the squares. They ran it backward in one of the squares and backward mirrored in one of the squares, and just ran the whole episode the whole way through with the audio and everything. And that was the whole episode. And it was just, you couldn't pay attention to anything.
Yeah, that seems terrible.
It's like an Andy Kaufman style gag.
You know what's funny? You mentioned people not washing their hands after they go to the bathroom. So I pay attention to people's shoes, partly because I like shoes, but also
because of the stigma about penis size.
No, because damn it, maybe I didn't want to talk about that on this show. I wanted to talk about it on our other show.
We'll save the wiener conversation for later.
But people. It's so I can like in the bathroom at work, I can tell you who's in the stall based on their shoes.
Okay.
That also allows me to unfortunately know which people I work with that don't wash their hands after they go to the bathroom. Yeah. So it's usually an awkward situation when, you know, shortly after me finding out they don't wash their hands after the bathroom, I'm only willing to elbow bump them because that shit, oh my God.
I mean, there's always the argument I don't mess on my hands, but I mean, you're touching everything in the bathroom. You should still be washing.
Yeah, for real.
I feel like that's something that everybody in every political category can get behind, is wash your fucking hands.
Yeah. Hopefully. If you can't, turn us off right now. We don't have time for you.
I don't know if you've heard the saying, there's 2 types of men in the world. The men who wash their hands before they go to the bathroom, mm-hmm. and the men with dirty penises.
Yeah. I've never heard that saying before, but I like it.
I used to say that fairly often.
It seems like some shit you would say.
I like to wash before I touch myself.
Yeah.
Got to keep it clean.
That's good. Well, all right, everybody. Welcome to Nothing in Moderation. I am Mike, here with my bestest friend, Travis.
That's me.
We are hanging out in the multi-million-dollar studio. For the first time since we've started this, it's actually freezing freaking cold outside. So we're out here in the wind and the elements behind this year's dumpster.
It's Florida freezing, to be fair. It's in the 40s.
It's Florida freezing. I don't own a jacket and currently do not plan to. Well, I plan to purchase one once I find the right one.
I saw you were searching around for a small time vendor of hoodies so you could support small business.
See, and I just, as I've gotten older, one of my things is like I want to try to only buy things once, and if that means buying used and it's, you know, something of high quality. Or I also want to support friends or small businesses, friends of friends. Like I don't.
Right.
I'm so tired of giving my money to large corporations that just in the end of the day, pretty much probably don't care about people. Oh, you know, I don't care. I'm sure there are ones out there that do, but the vast majority of them don't give a shit about people.
No, you're a number and an income source.
So I definitely would rather go that route, which is why I haven't rushed to buy one, because I just haven't found anything that like I want to support. Or
it's interesting to think about buying a $30 to $40 hoodie and doing a lot of investigative work to find out, do they print it themselves? Did they design it themselves? Or are they literally just subbing it all out?
Well, and I don't necessarily want your $20 Walmart hoodie with an iron-on deal on it. Like if that's what you do, that's cool. But that's, you know, I would rather have something that, you know, you sourced and you know, the as much of it you could is made locally or at least in the U.S. and, you know, because that kind of stuff's important to me. Like I like to know where things come from. So.
One of the wife's best friends has a business doing stuff like that. She hand makes dresses for the kids, and you know, she's made the Halloween costume. She made Ashley's prom dress when they were in high school and stuff like that. She's super crafty, and she owns a little business. I think it's Pink Mermaid Designs, and her husband's in the military, and they were taking old like throwaway uniforms, like the utilities or the chucks, depending on what what branch you're in. And she would take those and turn them into like purses and satchels and backpacks so like the kids could wear them to school and stuff. So she's repurposing all of it. I bet we could talk to her about making a hoodie for you as well. Be cool. It'd be a one-off thing, and you can pick, you know, some of the fabric and go from there.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know that I want to get that creative with it, but you know, if nothing else materializes, you know, that's what I'm left with.
And I think it's an interesting little side venture that she does because she enjoys being that kind of crafty. And you can, if there's any women that listen to the show and they want a one-off purse or you know, a shoulder bag or something, that's something she does.
If there were any women, they've already stopped listening.
Right.
So. They didn't. They downloaded their first episode, made it about 10 minutes in. Sweet Jesus, you just snotted all over yourself.
That's cool. At least it was all over me. And see, this is why you wash your hands before you pee.
Yeah, that way you don't rub your... Never mind.
No dick snot.
Yeah. Make sure you guys check us out on all of our social media. We are at Nothing in Mod Pod, pretty much anywhere you would like to find us. In the bio of any of those now, we have a link to... it's called a link tree. So it basically takes you to a landing page that gives you links to download us on iTunes or, you know, get to our Twitter or Instagram, whatever. So check that out. And just make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and sharing as much as you can to help get us out there. What the fuck? Oh, God damn it. See,
quit hitting all the buttons.
I know, I'm sorry. See, sometimes I press buttons and I don't know what they do. And then I have to stop and read the things that pop up like an old man. I don't know what this means. So.
That the same young lady I was telling you about that makes all the custom purses and dresses and stuff. I told you to start with, she makes dresses for the kids, and the littlest one is in the Girl Scout. So don't know if you know this.
Oh my God.
It's Girl Scout cookie season. It is. I'm never sure if that's a once a year thing or if it just seems to happen a lot.
It's a once a year thing.
Okay. But I guess the campaign, the idea behind it is sell 5,000 boxes of cookies at 3 times the normal price. And it pays for the kids to go to some sort of camp or whatever. Yeah. It's interesting that the friend put it out that her daughter's selling all these cookies, and that not only is it an opportunity for them to sell the cookies and go to camp, and, you know, there's a charity every year that they pair up with. Like last year it was, you could buy a box of cookies and send them to the troops.
Yeah.
But it's a good learning opportunity for the kids to be told no. So it just, not only do they get to sell cookies to hopefully earn something, there's a lot more lesson that in theory the kid can learn than just I have to sell the cookies. Because somebody's going to tell you no, and you can't be hurt over it. No, I can't buy cookies. So when it came time to ask us about it, I was like, just tell her no. She said we're allowed to.
Yeah, for real. Give me an out. I'm taking it.
And now she's like, no.
Oh man, see we have we've already had a coworker come around with a box of cookies asking if anybody wanted to buy them, and I shamefully said no immediately. Just get it out of the way.
You don't want the Thin Mints?
I've never liked Thin Mints. Yeah, I know, unpopular opinion. It's fine. I'm a caramel delight guy. That's what I like. Those are the ones that are caramel chocolate, and then they have little flakes of coconut in them.
They're the round ones with a hole in the center?
Yeah. They look kind of like a cookie donut.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, Thin Mints in the freezer. It's just like Kit Kats in the freezer. It's the right way to eat them, or you don't eat them at all.
Speaking of Kit Kats, so one of the people I work with had their little candy cup on their desk, and in it, they had sweet cinnamon Kit Kats. Tasted like a chocolate-covered churro. The most delicious Kit Kat I've ever put in my mouth. And I put a lot of Kit Kats in this gullet.
I think it's funny we're not even 10 minutes in, we're back on food.
Yep. Hey, it's what we like. Food makes us happy.
Food, sleep.
Yeah.
Occasionally alcohol.
Yeah. I heard you fell off the wagon.
Yeah, made it I think we made it 16 days before overdoing it again.
Before life got a hold of you and you gave up on
we
not
just
drinking?
we're pretty homebody people. We don't really go out very much.
For anything ever.
If we can help it,
Fucking
no.
hermits.
Yeah. And come hour 46 on the weekend of not having anything to do, we've already handled all the dogs and the laundry and the cleaning and the goats and, soon the bees.
Yeah.
We're like, all right, we're going to go get tequila.
You actually go get it, or did you have it delivered?
We went and got it.
Oh, okay. That's surprising.
Well, I mean, it both is and it isn't, because we take advantage of the Uber Eats and the Instacart and all that stuff. But both in defense and not defense of us in this situation, the tequila that we drink, you can't buy a handle of it on Instacart because the ABC that they go to doesn't have handles.
The hell?
They just have the 750s. Wow. So for us to buy the adult size bottle to justify the price per unit being lower and how much we're going to drink, we had to go to our local Indian-owned liquor store.
Those decisions are why I'm glad I'm just not a big drinker. Because it's nothing for me to get like the 750,
right?
And it sit in my I've had a bottle of Tito's that is at least 2 months old because I just don't drink that much.
Well, and you have better control over your temptations because if it's in the house, we're going to end up drinking it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying all in one night. I mean, we're going to drink way too much in one night for anybody's standards. Yeah. And thankfully, again, we don't go out and we're not doing anything. We're staying at home, which makes us alcoholics.
Yeah. That's very true.
But, it's like, all right, well, we went and got it on Friday and Saturday? I mean, whenever I told you I fell off.
You said it was hour 46 of your weekend. So
unless your weekend starts earlier. But, no, I think we went and got it on Saturday and normally, 2 handles will last us like Saturday and Sunday and maybe Friday night.
2 handles?
Yeah.
Sweet Jesus.
Yeah. So 2 handles will last us 3 days. A handle will last us sometimes 2 days. And that's evening drinking. That's not like hanging out and drinking throughout the day or at the pool, which we're not doing in the wintertime.
I was going to say. It doesn't seem like pool weather outside.
Go rake the goat pen and be doing shots of tequila out there with the goat shit.
That'd be kind of cool.
But no, so we did that. And then so it's like the year that I made all those Jell-O shots. It's like, well, we ran out of Jell-O, but we still have vodka, so let's go buy more Jell-O. Well, now we ran out of vodka and we have a lot more Jell-O, so let's buy more vodka. And you just keep going.
Yeah.
So the tequila's gone.
Yeah.
The vodka's gone.
Yep.
And Sunday we wanted to drink wine or whatever it was, so I went out and bought. She wanted champagne for mimosas because it's like brunchiness, but without having to go out.
Yeah.
So I got 2 bottles of champagne and I got 2 bottles of wine.
Is that where the $83 bottle of champagne at CVS came from?
Yeah, we'll circle back to that.
Cool. I just want to make sure.
But so then Monday comes around and we're not, all right, we're done drinking for the week. We'll worry about if we're drinking again on the weekend when the weekend gets here. And then we're bored. And then she's like, well, there's still a bottle of champagne left and a bottle of wine left. And I was like, yeah, but that's not enough. If we're going to start drinking, we're going to drink too much.
Yeah.
And then, surprisingly, we just drank the 2 bottles. And
because you can't do anything in moderation?
Correct.
Ah.
So then I ate a handful of CBD gummies after drinking 2 bottles of wine, and then I went to bed.
Nice.
So, but yeah, so she sent me down to CVS to pick up the 2 bottles of champagne for mimosas.
It's the weirdest place in the world to go buy champagne from.
It's the closest.
Yeah.
And I know they have it.
Yeah.
So I come around the corner and I'm trying to figure out where it is. And I'm like, all right, I know I got to get an extra dry and a brute, which we can go into that if we need to.
No, we cannot. I don't know what that means and I don't want to know.
But there's, the yellow tag at CVS, it says CVS price. Yeah. And then the regular price if you're not a member. And the CVS price on a bottle of champagne was like $83.
That's insane.
That's got to be the most expensive thing you can buy at CVS.
Well, no, because they have a pharmacy, so...
Can you buy one of something in the pharmacy for that price?
Yeah, you can buy one prescription for much more than $83.
We're not getting into healthcare.
No, we're not. I already struck that from the list. That's for the podcast that we're going to do about politics one day.
Well, someday.
It's on the list up there, so it's got to happen.
Is it?
Yeah, it's on the whiteboard.
I can't see the list. It's behind me.
You should probably look at that every now and then. Also, I'm staring at where it says things not to talk about. And
Food.
Food is there, and We are right back on it.
At least we didn't hit all the fast foods again. I did, however, just hear somebody else on YouTube. He was trying McDonald's Japan and McDonald's the United States, and he went on the almost word for word the same tirade you did about the best French fries being from McDonald's, and then talked about some of the other fast food places.
Yeah.
He's just wrong.
Sure. All right. Well, moving right along, because we don't want to. I'm not getting back into that with you. Don't get me started. You're going to get me started. So I think we both managed to get banned from social media in some form or fashion this week.
Did you?
I caught a 24-hour ban on Facebook, and I think you got banned from our politics on Reddit.
Yeah, I did, which
Nice.
I didn't realize you could get banned from a subreddit.
Yeah, I didn't know you could. Well, I knew you could. I knew they could ban you because I'm in that our Pyongyang, the North Korea one,
Right.
And like they will. If you talk bad about North Korea anywhere else on the Reddit, they will find it and they will ban you.
But that's not just all a joke, or is that actually?
It's a satire subreddit, but they
Okay.
take it seriously enough that like
Got
they
it.
search out the users, and if you're in there and say something negative about North Korea, they just ban you from it altogether.
Oh, well, I got banned from our politics commenting.
Yeah.
So I'm still allowed to read.
I saw you sent me a screenshot from it afterwards, so I'm like, oh, I can still read. So.
Yeah, I mean, I quoted Thomas Jefferson. Somebody went into the whole, well, if during the impeachment proceeding, if whatever branch of government refuses to cooperate with whatever branch of government or with whatever person, what's our next step? Because in theory, you're already several tiers deep. And someone said, take to the streets, and you may need to exercise your constitutionally guaranteed rights to certain things, whether it's First Amendment, Second Amendment, both. And I posted the quote from Thomas Jefferson where he made the comment to the effect of, from time to time, the tree of liberty needs to be refreshed with the blood of, the bad and the good alike.
Yeah.
Booted.
Nice.
Because I was apparently calling for violence. And I was like, that quote's 200 years old.
So we got booted for similar reasons then, because I got booted for hate speech because I mentioned that I hate white people. For those of you that don't know, I are white people. The context was that somebody shared a video of, it was a child who took a big swig of milk, held it in their mouth, laid down on the floor on their back, opened their mouth, and then a Labrador or some large dog came and licked the milk out of their mouth. It's some shit only white people do.
Yes.
And I've been blocked from Facebook before for as long as 3 days for similar instances.
Really?
There was one where there was a video. It was one of those child or baby shower reveal things, and these fucking people had an alligator that they had bite down on the balloon. And like, there's kids playing within striking distance of this fucking alligator.
But he had a balloon.
Yeah, well,
He was a trained gator.
I guess so. But I said in that one, fucking white people.
Well,
That's all I said.
And that's clearly white people from southeastern United States.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
not-
Yeah, but all I said was fucking white people. 3-day ban for hate speech.
You know, that exact phrase, fucking white people, I've said that before. My buddy Chris Diaz,
Yeah.
who, in case you can't figure it out, is Spanish,
Yeah.
had posted something at one point, and it was clearly like a fucking white people thing. And I said that, and I got booted.
Yeah.
And they said, you can appeal this if it's the
don't
same
work.
group that you belong
Nope,
to.
it
And I was
doesn't
like,
work.
wait a
They
minute.
don't wanna
So
hear it.
Facebook admits that you can use, much more graphic
But when you
words.
appeal under that reason, they immediately denied mine.
Really?
Yeah, like I was like appeal and selected, I am a member of this group. Less than 10 minutes later, I got a thing back and said, nope, still banned.
I got a post from 2017 pulled just the other day, and I don't know how much I can go into it.
Yeah, well.
But it was a picture on top of a bridge, a railing where people are known to jump off the bridge and into traffic and attempt to kill themselves.
Yeah.
And on the railing, when you're facing the railing, carved into that edge, it says something about "Don't do it. Life's too beautiful. You're loved," or something like that.
Yeah.
And on the top of the railing, someone scrolled real big. It says "Do a flip," and then
F word for gays.
Yeah, F word for gays.
Yeah.
And I don't like that word.
Yeah, no.
I will admit that there's a gay gentleman that I am friends with that uses that word to say
He's allowed to.
Well, he's like, F's like me, make
Yeah.
F's like what are current possible because we blaze the way type deal.
Yeah.
Funniest fucking guy in the
Yeah.
world.
But he's allowed to, so that's fine.
Right. But you know, so I saw this and it rang true because I was used to dealing with suicide and stuff, being a cop, and it was just the difference in opinion between how people should handle it if they are suicidal or something in nature. And it was fine on Facebook up until like 3 days ago. So it was up there for almost 3 years before it got caught.
It's almost like because I've had things taken down before too, but it's almost like they use the memories feature on Facebook as a way to double check the shit you used to do.
Probably.
Like, because I've had stuff in there I deleted that I was like, I can't believe I said that. Like that couldn't have been me. Like I had to be drunk or something. And I remember specifically when I put it up there, I wasn't drunk. Like I'm like, I got to delete this. This is bad times.
Well, I just always assume if someone says, hey, do you remember when, that chances are I'm not going to because I was drunk.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty obvious. That's with you.
Standard equipment.
Yeah. It's good times.
It's something, man.
Yeah. I just don't get it. Like I really don't.
Fucking white people.
Fucking white people. That's actually, this should be the name of the episode. We should name this episode Fucking White People. See how quickly it gets taken down.
I worked at a warehouse for Starbucks and Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, the place in the mall.
Well, the clientele is typically fucking white people.
Always.
The warehouse staff was typically not. Like, I think it was me and one other white guy. He's probably 20 or 30 years older than me. I mean, I'm sure somebody expects me to explain a complex dynamic, but it literally wasn't. Everybody was super pleasant with each other. Nobody gave a shit that, you know, black, white, Spanish, anything. And I asked a couple of the guys that I was more friendly with. One of them was a black guy and one was a Spanish guy from Central America. And I was like, hey, man, do you guys ever just look at something and know a white person did it? And they're like, what? I'm like, do you ever just sit and go, man, fucking white people? And they just both stared at me like I was nuts. And I was like, listen,
I get it.
I know that people say, you know, fucking black people or fucking Spanish people when they see certain things, whether it's accurate or not. What are some of the things that you're like, fucking white people, when you see shit like that? And they're like, well, lifted trucks. And so then they're like, we know that's a white guy.
Yeah, 99% of the time.
But it's always funny to take a step back and realize everybody kind of looks at everybody that way.
Yeah.
You know, have fucking women drivers or whatever it is.
Good luck, everybody else. It's one of the funniest episodes of Family Guy ever.
But, you know, that's like when we watch videos of Russian people doing crazy shit. Like, I'm going to do a handstand on top of a crane.
No, I'm good.
100 stories up, or going to hang off. And I'm like, whew, man, they're
not today.
Braver than I. They got more grip strength.
Listen, I have a heart attack watching those videos and nightmares usually following shortly after that.
It's all bad.
It's bad times. The God damn it. It happened again. I made it further this. I made it like 23 minutes this time.
I had an effing white people moment when I was working at the Starbucks and Chick-fil-A. I was on a delivery and we're in a semi truck. There's only so many places you can park a semi truck near a Starbucks and make sure you can unload it.
Yeah.
So the guy who's driving the truck is running the milk in while it's parked, and I'm unloading all the dry stuff, the coffee and all the other crap.
What? Starbucks has coffee?
I think so.
Holy shit.
So I'm stacking my dolly and trying to come down on the lift gate or whatever, and attractive younger white woman with light hair wearing a skirt short enough she probably needs 2 hairdos to go out that night comes walking out carrying her cup of coffee, and she's like, excuse me. Yeah? How long are you going to be here? Well, I'm just trying to unload the truck. Well, you parked me in. Okay, well, I can't move the truck. Yeah. Well, firstly, I don't have a CDL. Yeah. And secondly, there's nowhere to go because we have to back out. Yeah. And she's like throwing a fit and yelling at me. And I was like, ma'am, I understand. But the longer you keep me here, the longer it takes me to get this done. Yeah. And just, it's the entitlement. It's that first world problem thing that we talked about. Yeah. It's like the time I heard some girl screaming when there was the Ebola outbreak. Yeah. You know, and she's like, about no vanilla or whatever pump it was that she wanted. She's like, this is worse than Ebola. And I'm like, oh my God.
I would have had to have said something if I had heard that. Like
I just keep it pushing.
I can't deal with people that do that shit. Like, it's not that serious. There's nothing. And maybe it's because I worked in fast food for as long as I did. But stop looking at the board. I try to treat service employees just a little bit better because I know how terrible people are to them. Like
Absolutely.
I had a lady one night call me an effing retard. I don't know why I bleeped the effing and left the retard part in there, but whatever.
I said the soft part loud and the loud part soft.
Well, I remember I was working at McDonald's and she would come in all the time and nothing was ever good enough. Like, if you weren't pulling her fries from the fryer and putting them in the box, she didn't want them. Like, if they even were in the bin for more than 5 seconds, she didn't want them. And she would always send back sandwiches and shit. So
it's McDonald's.
She got her order to go one night. So, well, your boy went ham. So I was running around the back, like acting like a chicken because she ordered a chicken sandwich this time. And I'm like, bark, bark, running around the back. And that was when she said, "Is that guy effing retarded?" And I heard that. So when the little clamshell thing came up for me to pull the meat off the grill, I pushed that bitch back down again.
I'm gonna burn that chicken.
And then it came back up again, and I pushed that bitch back down one more time. And then I proceeded to put it on there with like 3 pumps of mayonnaise and just like 2 little strands of lettuce.
She's probably the happiest she's ever been with that sandwich.
Probably, and I sent that bitch right on out the window. Never came back.
It's my well done steak cut and ketchup.
But because I've dealt with shit like that, like I try to be as nice to them as possible, and will make comments to people that are being dicks to them just because it's not, it's not good times. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember being in a Wendy's, and the poor kid behind the counter is like 15 years old. And, we come walking in behind this older guy, probably in his 60s or 70s, and then what apparently was his son, who's like late 40s or 50s. And as the door's closing, I catch it.
Yeah.
And my friend Aaron and I walk in, and they get to the front of the line a little ahead of us, and he starts, he orders some whatever and gets $1 baked potato. So then all their food comes out, and we're ordering, and the baked potato's not out. And the guy's like screaming at this 15-year-old kid about the baked potato and what's wrong with her and where is it. And I just looked at him like, "Hey, man, the fuck's your issue?" He's like, "Oh, no, you don't know how long I've been here." And I'm like, "I walked in behind you. Yeah. You really think yelling at a 15-year-old kid's going to get your $1 fucking baked potato to you any sooner or any better?"
Nope.
And stomps off.
It's going to make it worse, I promise.
Just treat people decent, man. Nobody's
too hard.
Nobody is your servant. And even if they are your servant, they're still a human being.
Yeah. It's too much work to treat people decently.
I feel like it takes a lot less energy. Yes, please. Thanks. Bye. Why the fuck is there pickles on my sandwich?
Oh, God damn it. Such terrible times. God. Pickles on sandwiches, it's nightmares for me.
That's not my jam.
No. So you have a note on here, and I have to, because we're kind of on food. It says hot dog cart and threw a shoe at him.
Yeah, so
I need to hear about that.
God, back when Metallica toured, which now we're going to get sued, when Metallica did a summer sanitarium tour for, that album that they didn't remix. They didn't mix properly in the studio. They just left it raw. Saint Anger or something. Anyway, so they did a tour, and on the tour
every Metallica album is trash.
You go home.
Basura.
It was Metallica, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, Deftones, and Mudvayne.
Okay.
So it was an interesting show. It was like $70 a person, and actually I went there before I was dating my now wife. She happened to be there too, and kind of ditched her boyfriend while we were there, and her and I just hung out. But we had a whole group of friends, and
foreshadowing.
Right. We at the time, Limp Bizkit was not headlining, but they were second billing because they were fairly big at that point. But myself and my friends had kind of gotten past that rap rock talentless garbage. And what?
Go on. No, keep digging a hole.
Right. So Fred Durst is doing their set, and he comes. It's at the Citrus Bowl, and between the bleachers and the field where general admission is, they've made a path like 20 feet wide, and he's walking around and singing. Well, he gets all the way to the back of the crowd, which is where we are.
Yeah.
And he climbs up on top of like a snack cart or a hot dog cart, and he's like singing, and we're giving him the finger or whatever it is, and he gives us the finger, and he's like, "Fuck you." And I don't even remember how we came up with a spare shoe. We threw it at him while he was on the fucking snack cart, and he's got to dodge it like jump like W. Bush did,
like dip, dodge, duck, dive, and dodge.
Yeah. Well, he gone.
Aww.
But so he ends up off the snack cart.
Or like W. That's funny. I forgot about George W. having to dodge a shoe.
Fool me once. But,
Fool me can't get fooled again.
but yeah, so he gets down off of the cart and goes back up on stage and doesn't do that bullshit
That's
anymore.
smart.
But dude, we were laughing so hard.
I bet.
Committing a felony, but
I think my
allegedly.
favorite part of that story is not knowing where the shoe came from.
I don't remember whose shoe it was or how we even found a shoe.
Who went home shoeless?
Nobody in our group, I don't think. Ashley
So
never
you-
would have given up her shoe.
No,
we probably
yeah.
stole someone's shoe.
That's terrible.
Maybe
You're horrible
maybe it was
people.
Fred Durst's shoe and we were trying to return it.
No, that's not. You know what? Actually, that reminds me. In kindergarten, I remember. This is the only thing I remember from kindergarten. I went to a school. It was in the middle of a neighborhood.
Is this coming back to the chicken story?
No, it was in the middle of like a neighborhood though, and so there were houses on all sides of the playground. So I get into this altercation with a kid on the playground, and I take his shoe off, and I throw that fucking thing over the fence into somebody's backyard next to the doghouse. I ended up in the principal's office. My mom had to come get me, and like I when they asked me what I was doing, and I was like, I didn't realize I was throwing it that far. I've been playing baseball for several years at this point. I knew exactly how far I was throwing that fucking shoe. I was very aware. I knew I threw that shoe with every bit of purpose they thought I did at the time.
They're like, Michael Alcock, did you or did you not throw that shoe?
I did.
Bitch, I might have.
Bitch, I might have. Bitch, I might be. Oh, man. Those are good times. Kindergarten was good times. Actually, that's the only thing I remember from kindergarten.
Is throwing some kid's shoe.
It
over
only
the fence?
sticks out because like I remember having to like have my mom come and get me and like, wait in the principal's office because they sent me home for the rest of the day after that shit.
Shoeless Joe later jumped off that bridge I talked about.
Probably. So, whatever. I don't know him. Not my problem.
That's another first world problem.
Yeah, it's another first world
I got
problem.
sent home early from school for throwing a kid's schnikey over the fence.
Yeah. I feel like it was a boat shoe. I want to say it was a boat shoe.
You grew up in Rollins land?
No. I grew up in Ocoee, technically.
Yeah.
In Ocoee. This is when I was going to kindergarten. We lived in Ocoee. I grew up in Orlando on the east side.
I'm throwing a gang sign.
No, you're not.
I'm trying.
It's not. You're just waving your hand around in the air.
That's not a gang sign?
No, it's not a gang sign. I mean, just waving your hand around is not a gang sign. When you do other things with your fingers, when you do all sorts of twistle shit with your fingers,
Twistles?
That's different. You don't know.
The back on the treating service employees a certain way. We can link this article on the page and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a brewery here in Orlando called Rock Pit Brewing. I know you're not a big drinker.
Especially not beer.
Being a bearded, middle-aged, heavy white guy.
I don't have enough beard or man bun or both to be a beer drinker.
Well, we frequent or used to frequent the breweries, especially with Matty Cakes and Lulu and stuff like that. And Rock Pit's it's another brewery. It's comfortable. You can bring your dog, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Apparently, in the article, 2 patrons that were there had a crap attitude from the get-go. They were crappy with staff and made a big stink about the fact that somebody had their dog in the bar.
The hell?
And it's a dog-friendly place.
Most breweries are, aren't they?
Well, because they're concrete floors and there's no food and the brewing area is completely separate.
Every time we go to the brewery down here in town, there's fucking like 14 dogs in there.
Yeah, it's part of the culture.
Yeah.
Well, the people threw an absolute fit and demanded to talk to the manager. Mm-mm. And then the manager ended up being the manager on duty was one of the people sitting at the table that had a puppy, and they're passing the puppy back and forth across the table to play with or whatever. Uh-huh. And they threw a fit and said that, they should force all dogs to leave and it's unsanitary and it's this and it's that. And the manager said, no, tough crap.
Yeah.
And from what I can read, he was still very, cordial and stuff like that. And they claim that they're going to file a complaint and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And they did. Mm-hmm. And then the health inspector came and the health inspector said, you can't have dogs in here. And he's like, no. And the health inspector's like, what? He goes, I understand you're doing your job and you're telling me what you're saying, but this is why we have attorneys. I'm not kicking anybody's dogs out.
Yeah. Smart. I like that guy.
But again, being appropriate, and I understand why you're doing your job and stuff like that. And apparently the health inspector hung out for a little bit and, was still pleasant about it and understood where they were coming from. But just, why do people have to be assholes? Like, it's not affecting your day. It's not ruining anything.
They're probably cat people.
They might be cat people.
And I despise cat people. I'm kidding. I don't despise you. I just think you're weird.
I'm not a cat people.
No, I'm just saying in general. I think cat people are weird.
Oh,
so.
you're speaking to them.
Yeah. That was directed at you, cat people.
Got it.
So.
I thought it would be an interesting idea to. I don't have any idea how the logistics of it would work, but you get a group of people together that are quick-witted.
Okay.
And they're on call. And if there's a brewery or something like that that has somebody just being a flagrant asshole,
you send them in.
Yeah, you call them or text them or whatever it is, and then you do like I did at Wendy's or something like that. Hey man, why are you being such a dick face? What? Who are you? I'm the guy that just called you a dick face. Why are you being? You know, I mean, what's the issue with the dog? Are you hungry? Are you a dog eater? Is that your issue? And just
is that what you like to do, sir? You like to eat dogs?
You know, and just berate them without. And if you get thrown out, you're getting thrown out of the bar that called you to help.
Yeah,
still but so is the other person.
Mun on the side.
As long as you're not having a physical altercation and committing a crime.
You know, that I'm sure it would lead to a physical altercation at one point or another because you're going to run up on somebody in a bar that's just going to be like, you know what, screw this, and they're just going to punch the shit out of you.
That's cool.
No, I know, it's cool with you. I'm just saying. I could see that happening. And then somebody's like, oh, they called us. They used this service. It's bad times. I can see that being bad times.
NDA. Just sign the non-disclaimer.
Yeah, non-disclaimer. Is that what it is?
Disclosure?
They're disclosures, yeah.
It's the same thing, right?
No,
disclosing disclaims?
I don't think those are the same thing.
I'm not a lawyer.
I'm not either.
Which, by the way, is my favorite abbreviation on Reddit.
What?
I am not a lawyer. I anal. If you ever see someone write IANAL, it's I am not a lawyer, but it'll be I am not a lawyer, but this is my thought on the subject.
Yeah. I see that in a lot of the personal finance, like they'll abbreviate, I'm not a whatever.
I thought you were going to say in the personal ad section. I was like, that might have a different meaning.
No, yeah, definitely different meaning. But back to being kitten or fucking cat people being weird. Like, people that have cat colonies, because we have one here in the neighborhood, and they are, like, it's cool that they're taking them in and getting them fixed and, whatever. But I just don't understand the affinity for cats.
They're less needy. Oh, well, I guess maybe they're needy in a different way. I mean, for the most part, like our cat.
Cats are assholes.
Our cat is weird. Yeah. Our cat's a deaf, long-haired, all-white, blue-eyed Persian. Mm-hmm. And
that's a lot of things to be.
Yeah.
Checks all the boxes.
All the boxes. Fucking white cats. And she's fairly low maintenance.
Yeah.
I mean, we put food in her bowl. She occasionally knocks it off and the dogs eat it.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like she is because she is deaf.
Yeah.
You can't wake her up. So she gets in the weirdest sleeping positions and you can like yell at her because she literally has no eardrums or anything. And Ashley's explained that the cat is so loving. Like she can throw the cat over her shoulder and she's like, I could get in the shower and the cat won't give a shit. She's like, cat just doesn't care, just wants to be held.
I had a roommate before I moved back in with you the second time. When I lived in Orlando, when Jen and I first started dating, and he had a cat. And I, growing up, thought I was allergic to cats.
Which I am.
My grandparents had a couple of different cats throughout the years, and I would always have a hard time breathing and, just small issues.
It wasn't the smoking.
It wasn't the smoking or the being fat. It was specifically worse when I was around the cat. I would, my eyes would get all puffy and red, whatever.
Right.
But when I moved in with him, he already had the cat, and, for the most part, the cat stayed on his side of the apartment or whatever. But the cat every now and then would just, like, I'd leave the door open and it would run into the room. And I remember I'd just gotten a brand new Alabama hat and it was sitting on my little footstool. The cat hopped up on the footstool, looked at me, used her paw to slap my hat off onto the floor, looked back at me, and then jumped off the footstool and walked out of the room. Like, strutted out like she was the baddest bitch in the world.
The cat was exerting dominance. It's her house.
Well, listen, I don't like that shit.
Just go shit in its litter box.
Oh, I never thought about that. That would have been, oh my God.
And just don't tell your roommate.
I'd feel bad for him. I was a good roommate to him, but I messed with him a lot. Like there was the first month I paid rent, I walked into his room and I got the rent money in all 20s specifically so that I could walk in there.
And make it rain.
And he was asleep. And I walked in there and I said, Tony. And as soon as he opened his eyes and looked, I slammed all of it in the bed, just all over the place. And he had made him pick it all up.
Yeah, so, I guess you could have just dumped a bucket of nickels on him.
Yeah, that would have been funnier, but way too heavy to carry up 3 flights of stairs.
That's true.
So.
I always kept stuff on the ground floor.
Yeah, I the only thing I didn't like about that was living on the third floor. That shit was terrible.
The only thing I didn't like about the third floor was living on the third floor.
Well, because I had a recliner that, like, a heavier duty, older leather, like real leather and like metal frame, nice recliner. Carrying that bitch up and down the stairs when I moved in and then moved out was terrible.
Well, you just throw it off the balcony when you're moving out.
I would actually, what I did was I picked it up and like flipped it over so that the cushion of it sat on my head and the back of it went down my back.
So you were a turtle.
So I was a turtle effect. Yeah. I did that. I took it off the bed of my truck and flipped it over my head and just pushed my way up 3 flights of stairs and then did the same thing coming back down.
That sounds terrible.
It was absolutely fucking horrible. It was the last thing I moved in and the last thing I moved out because it was so terrible.
I don't remember you having that when you lived with me.
I think I brought it straight here instead of taking it to your house just because I had limited room. My room at the apartment was like your bedroom and my bedroom combined.
Really?
It was huge. It was absolutely huge. So because I had a room, I had like a bed and the recliner and my TV and still had like plenty of room for activities and to do things. It was nice.
Just in the great room.
Yeah, basically the living room was, twice the size. It was kind of cool.
I remember the recliner I had that I think I deboed that for you, didn't I?
Is that the one that I broke?
Yeah, you were
the one
sitting
that fell
in,
apart while I was sitting in it.
You're sitting in it and you pushed on the arm of the couch outward to try and shift yourself upward and rip the arm of the recliner off of the recliner.
The funny story about that is I was shifting in the seat so that I could get my ass up off of it so that when I farted it would be audible and ended up breaking the chair. So
suppress the fart sound.
Yeah, well, I didn't fart because I was falling and I forgot about that part of it. So that's what happens when you live this fart life. Things backfire sometimes and you forget that that's going to happen. Also, sometimes you shit yourself.
Damn it! Who shit my pants?
It was me. I shit my pants. Good times. Well, shit, man. We're getting close to running our course on this one. You want to say our goodbyes and get the hell out of here?
No.
Got any funny stories you want to tell before we take off?
I got a phone call.
Oh yeah.
So part of what I do with work, with acquisitions and stuff.
Get you a million phone calls.
Yeah, I mean we operate within the law, and we'll send out. I'll send out text messages from lists that we buy and stuff like that. And hey, my name's Travis. I'm looking to buy this. I'm looking to buy that. Blah blah blah. If you're selling,
he sells drugs.
Right. Not drugs. Wink.
Yeah.
I'm looking to sell not drugs.
Yeah.
But so I got a phone call from a very irritated female. And she said something to the effect of, I don't know why you're calling me. And I said, ma'am, I haven't called. I may have sent a text. Did I ask about a piece of property and selling it? And she went on to explain that she's officer so-and-so, and I didn't press the issue. I mean, she sounded confident enough in the statement. It didn't feel fake. There was no quivering in the voice, anything like that. It sounded like someone who just knows that doesn't matter.
Or has rehearsed it.
Maybe. But
I sound confident when I'm explaining my resume to people, but it's because I've rehearsed what it says.
Right. I've made this up a lot of times.
Yeah.
But she went on to tell me she was an officer, and I said, officer so-and-so, I can appreciate where you're coming from. And she's like, I don't feel like you should reach out to me anymore. And I said, that's fine. I have no problem making sure that myself or my company doesn't reach out to you at all. Well, you need to tell all your friends. I was like, ma'am, I don't have any friends. If by friends you mean other people who would be doing a similar thing in the same industry, I don't have any influence over what they do and don't do. I can just tell you, as far as my quote unquote list goes, I will remove you from my list, which means I won't interact with you, nor will anyone from my company. So then she started pushing the issue again. You need to. And I was like, ma'am, you need to get over it. And she goes, well, if you don't do it, I'm going to come arrest you. And I was like, are you? I was like, under what statute? And she's like, harassing phone calls. And I was like, well, firstly, I didn't call you.
Yeah.
I was like, you called me. So it's not a harassing phone call. It's a text message. It's a single text message. It doesn't contain any threats in it, so it doesn't meet that criteria. Yeah. What Florida state statute do you think you're going to come arrest me on? And
all of them.
And she just, got flustered and hung up on me. And, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
But my time as a cop, very specifically everybody that I dealt with in training scenarios and, field training and ride-alongs and stuff, one of the things I told them, don't threaten to arrest somebody unless you know you can actually make the arrest. Mm-hmm. Because then, in theory, as you do it more commonly, now everybody knows you're full of shit. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, he just said he was going to come back and arrest me, but he never did because he doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah. And you don't want to take that power away because everybody wears the same uniform. So to people in public, you're all the same person anyway. Yeah. So oh, you are? Well, I'm going to come arrest you. Okay, well, it's not a misdemeanor exception, which getting into the weeds, it's not necessarily an arrestable offense anyway. Yeah. And even if you knew what statute you were trying to use. So it was one of those things, and I mentioned it on the social media about, hey, I think I just got a phone call from a cop threatening to arrest me, and everyone automatically went to, I get those calls all the time from people claiming to be the FBI with my taxes
or the IRS,
the IRS, or some guy that clearly English is like his third language and he's struggling with it.
Says his name's Dave,
and there's going to be a warrant issued for your arrest, and it's like, all right, well. Pack a lunch and bring some friends. I'll be here.
Listen, Jagadesh, your name's not Dave. We know it.
Dave's not here, man.
Dave's not here, man. All right, buddy. Let's get the hell out of here.
Okie dokie.
We'll catch you guys next week. In the meantime, don't do anything crazy. Make sure you check us out on all of our social medias and like, share, subscribe, do all of those things. Let us know you're out there. We love you guys. Don't do anything crazy.
Bye.
Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. I'm on the wrong screen.